The past month in the stock market has given us some of the most volatile trading days in the history of several different US indexes. We saw the fastest 20% decline in the Dow Jones Industrial Index, only to be followed last week by the best weekly performance since the mid-1930s. And while the sheer volatility alone is enough to make most active traders nauseous, the recessionary gap that this has created presents a great opportunity not only in the stock market but in several different forms of investments. So today, let's look at 5 of the best investments that you can make during this recession that really could make you pretty rich in the long run. Let's jump right into it. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, first of all, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe and let me know what videos you'd like to see me make in the future. So a recession, by definition, is a contraction in the GDP, or gross domestic product, for at least 2 consecutive quarters. So by this definition, we are not technically in a recession at the time of making this video on April 3rd, 2020, since recessions are typically declared retrospectively. However, with businesses closing left and right and unemployment claims in the United States skyrocketing to nearly 10 million in the last 2 weeks alone, anyone with a basic understanding of economics can see where we're headed. First of all, I think it's important to mention that by no means am I saying that a recession is a time to take advantage of those who are hurting as a result of this economic fallout. Recessions can be damaging in a number of ways, and anyone who lived through the Great Recession of 2008 knows this very well. So by sharing these ways that you can make an honest dollar during this opportunity, I hope that you'll be able to make a positive impact in the future on an individual who may not be as fortunate or prepared as you are for the next recession. With that being said, the first and most common way to make money during a recession is by investing in core sector stocks that continue to perform well despite the economic downturn. Obviously, this will change drastically depending on the cause of the recession, but typically there are always 1 or 2 sectors that are outperforming others across the board, and focusing your efforts on those can really net you a lot of profit in a short period of time. For example, the current health crisis has caused a decline in every major sector in the S&P 500, but healthcare has still performed much better than the other sectors that have taken quite a beating over the past month. Therefore, you can take advantage of this knowledge and look for some fundamental swing trades that can net you a large profit in a matter of weeks or months rather than years. I recommend a mix of fundamental and technical analysis, really for all forms of recessionary investing, since many times we see a drastic decline in a company's stock value simply because the perceived value of that stock has declined. For example, Delta Airlines has lost over 60% of its value in the last month alone, and this is reflected by the plummeting stock price. But by doing a fundamental analysis, you obviously know that Delta has not lost 60% of its inherent value. It still largely maintains a number of its assets and really all of its other value, including its brand and other factors that make up the value of the company. The only thing that has really changed is the restricted revenue stream and therefore the perceived value of their stock. Remember that the value of a stock, especially in the short term, is almost always perceptual, just like any other good or service. One individual may perceive a Ferrari as being worth $300,000, since maybe it's a status symbol to them or maybe it's a dream car, while another individual may see that vehicle as worthless and would much rather drive their much more fuel-efficient Toyota Camry. Stocks are no different, and while the perceived value may drop drastically during a recession, the inherent value of that business and their fundamentals will likely remain unchanged. This means that it's a great time and great opportunity to invest in these volatile stocks. The next best place to make money during a recession, and one of my personal favorites regardless of which stage of the economic cycle that we're in, is dividend stocks. This dividend is determined by the company and can fluctuate drastically depending on a number of different factors. Some companies pay no dividend, while others pay an astronomical dividend well above 10%. If you've ever heard of the term income used when referencing investing, this often refers to dividend-related investments, since this is seen as a form of income since it is consistent and is paid out to you regardless of where the stock price is at. So for example, if you own $10,000 of AT&T stock, then you will be paid a consistent $723 per year just for owning this stock, since they currently have a 7.23% dividend. This is abnormally high, and many companies have artificially inflated their dividends, which is likely an attempt to entice investors into purchasing their declining stock. But like I said, dividends are extremely consistent and can be a great way to offset the volatility that often occurs during a recession. If you want to learn more about dividends, there are plenty of resources all over the internet, but one of my personal favorites and where I learned from is another YouTube channel by a guy named Andre Jick. He has a lot of experience owning dividend stocks, and I would highly recommend you check out his channel if you do want to learn more about dividend investing. This brings us to our third way to make money during a recession, and that is investing in real estate. Now, anyone who lived through the 2008 real estate market crash might think that this is absolutely ridiculous. And while the pain and financial losses associated with the real estate market crash of 2008 are still real for many individuals, there are also a lot of people who made a lot of their fortune by purchasing real estate for pennies on the dollar while it was so low. Just like any other business model, the goal is to buy low and sell high, and real estate is no different. During the Great Recession just over a decade ago, investors who patiently waited on the sidelines were able to purchase real estate for 20 to 30 cents on the dollar in certain locations. And these homes now have incredible amounts of equity since the market has only boomed since then. Not only will you earn equity on the home as the economy climbs out of a recession, but you can also rent out these properties, whether that be commercial or residential real estate, and earn a consistent form of income on top of your equity. I am by no means an expert on real estate, so take this with a grain of salt, but another great opportunity during a recession when it comes to real estate is renovating a rundown home when material and labor costs are so low. Because of these lower labor and material costs, any renovations that you put into a home can often net upwards of a 50% return. You can then do what's called a cash out refinance and put all of that equity back in your pocket and reinvest it into more real estate or other markets. As if that wasn't good enough, interest rates typically fall through the floor during recessions, meaning that you can borrow money for dirt cheap in order to purchase your rental property. Over the past month or so, we have seen already low interest rates fall to almost zero, meaning you could get a fixed rate mortgage at the current rate, allowing you to invest the bank's money while paying very little in interest. While all of this sounds well and good, unless you've been diligently saving to purchase this rental property over the past few years, very few individuals actually have the financial reserves to make such a substantial purchase, especially during a recession. Owning your own physical property is by far the most lucrative option when it comes to real estate, but there are plenty of other ways to make money during a recessionary period other than property management. I talked about this before in the channel, but a REIT, or real estate investment trust, was one of my first experiences with real estate investing and allowed me to dip my toe in the market without putting up a $100,000 plus investment. Fundrise is another great option if you want to invest in more specific real estate projects in certain areas around the world. You can also combine owning a REIT index fund with the second method of making money, which was dividends. Many REIT index funds will not only appreciate in value as the economy crawls out of a recession, but will also pay a nice dividend as a thank you for being an investor. The fourth money-making method that has become increasingly popular during the current recession is investing in precious metals such as gold and silver. Even if you don't purchase a physical coin or a gold bar, you are still purchasing a very liquid asset that also appreciates in value during recessions due to the increase in demand for reliability while other assets plummet in value. Again, you don't need to go on eBay and start buying every gold coin you see left and right, but purchasing a precious metals index fund could be a great option that often appreciates in value during a recessionary gap. This brings us to the fifth and final method of making money during a recession, and that is by investing in yourself. I know this one sounds a bit cliche, and it definitely is, but at a time when nearly 10 million Americans have lost their jobs with many more likely to come, when has there been a better time to step back and invest in your own interests and goals? Often we get caught up in our jobs and our daily responsibilities that we lose sight of the things in life that truly make us tick and that we're passionate about. There are very few people who get to call their passion their job, and even if you have a job that you enjoy, that doesn't mean that you have to give up entirely on your passions and other life goals. A career is often a means to an end, and while hundreds of millions of people are being asked to stay home, and countless universities and companies are offering free educational materials, this could be the perfect time to better yourself in some way and go after that goal that you've been pushing off for far too long. This doesn't even need to mean educating yourself in some way, but could instead be some financial goal like paying off debt or finally opening that Roth IRA that you've been talking about for so long. Taking these financial steps now, especially with the current state of the stock market, could lead to a much more stable financial future for you and your family down the road. So take a moment to step back and reassess your goals and find a way to invest in yourself, whether that be during the current recession or in future times of economic difficulty. Regardless of which method is best for you, remember to stay consistent with your investments and stick to your original plan. Don't be turned away by the extreme short-term volatility that is seen across many different markets right now. Stay the course of your original plan, and you could see a lot of upside in the coming years. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to check out my channel. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions at all down in the comment section below, and let me know what markets you're taking advantage of during this economic recession. Make sure to wash your hands, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.